Do you have a tag
Yeah,
at this point?
yeah.
And what is that tag?
It just says damn Tay.
And care to share whose voice that is on that tag?
Nah, I don't want to say who it is.
Are you able to say how that tag originated for you?
Yeah, we did it in my living room actually. Someone they recorded it, and I sent it out to one of my other, like I said, co-producers, because we all work together. And he kind of like polished it up and fixed it up and shit like that. And he sent it back to me, and I ran with it, and I've been using it ever since.
Now, when it comes to this phrase, was this something you guided whosever's voice that is to say those exact words?
Yeah, it
Okay.
was an idea I had in my mind, and I just made the person say it into a mic, and then we fixed it up, like I said, polished it up, and they sent it back to me, and I've been using it ever since.
Now, you didn't name the co producer here. Care to share who they are?
Um, my buddy 808 Leak, he was the one that fixed it up and you know made it sound good like that. But I actually got two tags too. My other one, damn, what the fuck it say? It say, damn, Tay, you going crazy. My homie Kai did it. His name's Kai Cooked it.
Now, do you use one tag more than the other?
Yeah, I only use the damn Tay tag though.
And what happened with that other tag? Why isn't it as used as often?
I just feel like it don't sound as good as the other one. The other one is that motherfucker inspirational.
Now, do you recall the first beat you used that tag on?
Oh, I can't even tell you. I make so many beats a day. I don't even know.
And what's been the reaction to this tag of yours?
So they fuck with it. They like it. Yeah, they fuck with it.
Do people ever say it when they see you in person?
Yeah, they do.
Now, have you heard other producers copy this tag of yours?
Nah, not necessarily. Nah.
And was this the first tag you ever used?
Nah, I had other ones before that, but they was kind of like the bitches was weak. They wasn't on shit.
Care to share what they were or who did those?
Who the fuck did I have to?
Just for a little history into your.
Some random nigga. I don't even know. Yeah, it was weak though. It wasn't it though.
Do you
If you
want to
go
share?
listen to some of my old songs like I produced, it's on there. I want to say like one of my old songs I produced. I can't even remember, but it's on there. But that shit ain't it though.
Now, do you use this tag on every beat you create or certain types of genres, or how does that go for you?
But I don't like to force it on the beat. If it don't sound right, then I take it off. But for the most part, it be sounding right because I feel like I got my own, I want yeah, kind of unique sound. I got my own sound that I like, so it usually always fits. But if it don't fit, I just take it off. Like I got beats where the tag ain't on it. It ain't always gotta be on there, because I don't like to force a vibe, but that ain't there. And that's just in life general shit. I don't like to force shit that ain't, you know.
Now, have you ever had a tag on a beat that you were okay with, the vibe was right, but maybe the artist requested it to be taken off?
Nah, but if he did that, I'm cool with it. I don't like I said, I'm not gonna force nothing if because at the end of the day, I do feel like it's kind of, you want to be more so lenient towards the artist, and just like how can I say it, like, yeah, you just want to be more lenient towards the artist, like whatever he's asking for, not whatever, but just be able somebody that you can work with. And the tag ain't that serious. It ain't gonna make me or break me. Like I ain't that damn thirsty for no clout or no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that serious to me. If he tell me take it off, I'm gonna take it off.
Now it's 2025. Are you open to any future tags aside from this one?
Yeah, I can get a few. If it sounds good, I'm gonna use it. Like whatever sounds good, I use. If it don't sound good, then I ain't fucking with it. But if it sounds good, I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna take it and run with it. Shit.
Anything else you want to mention about this tag or question you weren't asked? People want to know just about that itself.
Nah.
Now, do you consider yourself a music producer?
Yeah, I do because actually I'm in the studio with artists and recreating the vibes and shit like that. Actually sometimes I walk them through it and tell them, go do this or go do that, and yeah, actually, like I said, I walk them through the song. I help create the song. I'm not just a nigga just sending beats through the email or to their phone or shit like that. We actually get in the studio and we work on the record together. So, yeah, I do actually consider myself a producer. I feel like that's a beat maker, is a nigga that's just sitting in this room just making beats and sending them off, you know. Nothing is wrong with that. That's cool. But you know, I like to be in the studio with the artist as well though, you know. That's just me though.
Now, from the very beginning, did it start out as beat making and then this transition to more of a music producer, or were you a music producer from the jump?
Uh, nah, I guess you couldn't say I was a producer from the jump, but you know, cause I feel like it was a learning curve, you know. So at first I was just making beats in my room, you know, and then as I got more deep into it, I guess you can say I became a producer. But you know, but like I said, I know that's always something I wanted to do anyway, because I like to get up and move around anyways. I don't like to just sit in one spot anyway, you know. I don't want to just sit in my fucking room and make beats all day, you know.
But just for clarification, you would consider yourself a beat maker at first and then transitioned into a music producer.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
Okay, now at what point does it transition into more of the opinionated dealings with a recording artist? At what point does it go from just making those beats to being in a vibe or in a zone and dictating or suggesting or whatever the correct verbiage is here that anyone can insert if I'm butchering this, where it does become that transition there?
Like, what do you mean specifically?
Like what led to you just making beats to actually being in the studio and saying, hey, let's do this, let's move this, let's say it like this, that sort of thing?
Because I got a personal relationship with some of my artists, you know. We actually get in the studio together and we work on records, you know. But yeah, we just get, like I said, we get in the studio and we actually work on the record together, you know. And that's what I'd rather do anyways. I don't mind telling a nigga, hey, come to the studio. I got this beat for you. I want you to jump on, you know. Like, I know who to call in for certain beats type shit, you know. I got certain artists for certain beats.
Now, as far as being considered a music producer, is that just the phrase, or does it get any more specific than that for you? Like a particular type of music producer?
I mean, well, I guess you could say some people kind of, you know, box themselves in one lane, but you know, I feel like, I mean, you can call me a trap producer, but eventually, sometime later on, I do want to start doing, you know, R&B type shit like that. But you know, I mean, I can do it now if I really wanted to, but right now I'm just focused on the trap lane. But you know, I like R&B music though too as well.
Now, as a music producer, specifically in the trap genre, how do you get beat placements?
Oh shit, that's a good one.
What's the secret? There may be some beat makers right now wondering, how do I do that?
You just gotta network and just, you know people type shit, you know. And you gotta, first of all, no, let me switch that up. You gotta actually be good first, cause no matter, you know, how tapped in you is with people, if that shit ain't good, matter of fact, you might get lucky. You might get lucky. Motherfucker might just use your beat because they, you know what I'm saying, they fuck with you. But for the most part, I feel like, you know, if you don't have and that comes back to what I said too, if you don't have a personal relationship with somebody, then, you know, it's not gonna work. But if you got a personal relationship with these people and you actually good at what you're doing, whether it be the drums or the melody, and y'all come together and y'all do a collab on a beat, that's how you get placements, you know?
And how do those relationships start? Is it just as simple as direct messaging someone on a social media platform or sending a beat to a requested email? Like sometimes recording artists will say, hey, here's a beat email, send me your best stuff. Is that how this sort of thing works?
Yeah, sometimes, but you know, you just gotta get to know an artist, you know, get to know people in general, you know. At the end of the day, your network is your network, you know. And you ain't gonna go too far if you don't, you know what I'm saying, you don't know people, you know.
Now, is there anything else on the topic of placements, aside from what you just said here?
Yeah, just try to collab with people and work with, like I said, just work with other people, and you know, don't be an asshole and, you know, and arrogant about it. Some of y'all just be tripping, you know, especially when it come to money and shit like that. Y'all be money hungry, you know. You can't be like that. You got to think about longevity with this shit. It ain't about no money, you know. No, it is about, you know what I'm saying. Get your money by all means, but don't be so, you know, money hungry is what I'm saying. You know, if you know that this guy, he can help you, y'all can help each other. Why wouldn't you give him a free beat to help you? You know, Instead of saying, "Hey, you gonna pay me for this beat?" Like, no, you just burning down the bridge. Then that don't make no sense.
Now, how long have you been in the music industry for?
Well, I guess.
Rough estimate.
I mean, I've been making beats since 2018, so probably about what's that, like 6, 7 years, something like that.
In your opinion, from what you've seen, what you've experienced, what's the biggest mistake music producers make?
Like I just said, just being too money hungry and shit like that. Like it ain't about no money. I mean, it is about the money, but at the end of the day, like I said, you want a good relationship with these people, and if you hounding a motherfucker for, you know, $30 for a little B sale or something like that, then the motherfucker not gonna want to fuck with you. And, I mean, shit, if I was an artist, I wouldn't want to fuck with you either. Shit. Especially if I'm helping you. Like, come on now. Because at the end of the day, he can go straight on YouTube and get another beat from any other average nigga, you know what I'm saying? Or whoever.
Now, have you made this same mistake yourself,
No.
or just going off observation here?
No, I'm actually real good when it comes to money anyway, so no,
Now, aside from helping recording artists with their beats, things of that nature, have you ever gotten behind that microphone yourself?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Just like playing, like trying to rap before, yeah. But that shit ain't for me, bro.
How did you know it wasn't for you? Because there are some music producers that do get behind the mic and are recording artists. They're producer slash recording artists, or recording artist slash music producer.
I just know it ain't for me. It just ain't my lane. I just stick to making beats. I do a little engineering too sometimes, but for the most part, I just make beats. That's all.
On the recording artist side of things, for you, was it the voice? Was it your voice?
Yeah, I think that's what it might have been, my voice. I don't know. But nah, that rapping shit ain't for me though.
Now let's zoom out for a second. How did all of this start? Was it on the recording artist side of things first, and then the production side? Or was it production side from the jump, and then you experimented with maybe some of the recording artist aspect?
I guess you can say I tried to like make a song or something like that first. And like I said, the shit wasn't for me. But I knew I wanted to make beats anyways too though. But I tried to rap. Yeah, I guess you can say rap first, but I knew it wasn't for me.
Did you have a stage name back then?
Nah.
As a recording artist?
Nah.
Now, when you are working with other recording artists, as a music producer and suggesting things and however way that goes, has any recording artist ever said, hey, just jump on the hook and you do it? Or, you might suggest a lyric or something, or maybe even pitch a hook and have people ask you to jump in the booth and do it, or, hey, jump on this and throw some ad-libs on this, or
Nah.
has it ever gotten that far?
Nah. They ain't gonna ask me to do no shit like that. Nah.
Now, what are some do's and don'ts for a recording artist working with a music producer such as yourself?
Okay, let me see. I mean, I know this is something we'll never, get straight, but if I feel like if you use a nigga beat, bro, let them know you used it type shit, Like if you gonna use my beat, just communicate with your damn producer, bro. Like, that shit is annoying as fuck, but that's the biggest don't. But dudes, like, yeah, just let me know what's going on type shit, Keep me in the loop. If you don't like the beat or you do use it, because niggas will pop up 5 years later with a song and dance on your beats. You never even knew nothing about it, So that's the irritating part.
All right. Okay, so that was some music questions here. Let's get a chance to get to know you a little bit better here.
Okay.
Now, for those in the audience getting to know you for the very first time, care to share where you were born?
Chicago. I'm from the Chicago South suburbs.
And care to share where you were raised as well?
Chicago South suburbs.
And care to share where you reside these days?
Right now, Chicago South suburbs.
Now, does it get any more specific than that for you?
No, not really.
Now, when it comes to Chicago, circumstances could be different for everyone. But can you give the audience 5 tips for anyone visiting the Windy City?
Oh shit, man. Just protect yourself. You gotta be on point. Shit, can't be out there lacking and shit like that. Cause it get wild. Whether you in the suburbs or the city or it don't matter. Shit, it can get wild anywhere. But just be cool when you come out there. You can't be on no weird shit, no wild shit or nothing like that, cause it'll go up real quick. But other than that, I can't really say too much. Just be cool when you come out there. Don't be on no weird shit.
If there was a Mount Rushmore of music producers, which 4 people would you pick and why?
That's a good one. I can include myself.
Sure.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say me first. DP Beats, Southside, for sure. Damn, let me give it 2 last. Damn, that's hard, bro. I got so many motherfuckers I can put in this last spot. Mm. I'm gonna go with shit. MexikoDro.
Now, what is the reason for each of these names, including yourself?
Shit. Of course, I'm gonna say myself. Shit, Um, but my boy DP Beats, I feel like that was a huge inspiration on me. That was somebody that I was looking at, like, when I first started. No, matter of fact, yeah. Like, as I was getting into this shit, and I'm looking up other producers and, type shit. You know how everybody got some type of inspiration. Like, we all started somewhere, and you was looking at somebody else. So the DP Beats was the one I was really, really, like, grasping towards type shit, And, Southside, come on, man, it explains itself. I can't really, go into too many details. But I'm gonna say MexikoDro because he the one that kind of made me want to get into the shit type shit, But like I said, I always been into music anyways, but his beats was just so unique and different that to the point where it's like, man, let me go get a laptop and start making beats too, So, yeah, I'm gonna go with them for.
Now, as far as inspiration, you mentioned DP specifically. What was it about him compared to all the other producers out there for you?
You know what? I don't even know, bro. Just had a unique sound, bro. That just, I don't know, it just did something to me. The sound was crazy, bro. That's all. Shout out to him, bro. Real talented,
Now, you used a phrase, you said, my boy here. So it sounds like you have a relationship with him already in some sort of manner.
Nah, we ain't got no relationship. We just had a little, a couple words back in the DM before, but,
Okay.
We cool, though. It ain't like no strong relationship or nothing with him, but.
Okay, got it. Just clarifying here. Well, asking you this question, then zooming back out.
Okay.
For transparency, besides yourself and DP, which you've communicated with on social media, do you know any of the other music producers you mentioned in this Mount Rushmore personally, by any chance?
Nah.
Is there anything you want to say to any of these music producers aside yourself, watching or listening to this interview?
Shit. Nah, not really shit,
And when it comes to social media, for those in the audience getting to know you for the very first time, care to share your most frequently used platforms and those handles, screen names as well?
Oh, say that again now.
When it comes to social media, you mentioned that you and DP would exchange some messages back and forth.
Yeah.
But for those in the audience getting to know you for the very first time and want to find you on social media, what are your most frequently used platforms and what are those screen names or handles for those platforms as well, just in case there might be some scammy screen names out there, some unofficial screen names, just so everyone in the audience has the right information here.
Right. But you can just find me on Instagram at 808 Tay, or either on YouTube at 808 Tay. Yeah.
Now, speaking of social media, and Instagram in particular, wanted to see if you could break down any of these elements for the audience.
Okay.
You have the phrase 808 Tay, followed by an angry face with horns emoji and a musical keyboard emoji. Care to share the meanings behind any of these emojis with that phrase?
I'm just cooking up some hard shit, some hard dark shit, you know. Cause like I said right now, you know, that is my lane. But like I said, I can do everything though for the most part. But you know, I like to make, you know, trap shit, dark trap shit right now.
And then what about below that? You have this phrase, Chicago, in all caps, followed by 2 vertical traffic light emojis.
Oh, it's just shit. Letting the motherfuckers know I'm from Chicago. That's it.
But why the traffic emojis 2 times? Any meanings behind that?
Nah. Yeah, go shit. Mm-hmm. It's a go and a go.
And any connection between you and 808 Mafia?
Nah.
You do
People
have
ask that all the time, but nah.
you do have 808 in your stage name.
That's just on some musically shit, but it ain't like, oh no, I'm connected with 808 Mafia. Nothing. You know, shout out to them though for sure. But no, it ain't. No.
Now, you mentioned people do ask this. Have those in 808 Mafia ever approached you about that or questioned you about that or
Nah.
anything of that nature?
Nah.
And just for historical purposes here, did you have that stage name 808 Tay before 808 Mafia existed? Was this something you had after they already existed?
Yeah, after. They been had it. I actually went by Tay Beats at first, like a long time ago. Then I switched to 808 Tay. But it wasn't because I like wanted to be 808 Mafia, no shit like that. I just liked it, that name, you know. I just felt like that fitted me more so than Tay Beats, you know. That shit was whack.
Now, when it comes to this emoji, the angry face with horns, and you reference that as, dark trap and things of that nature. With that particular emoji there, though, could this be mistaken as something devilish, perhaps?
Nah.
And just for the record here, do you follow a religion by any chance?
Shit, God.
And was that how you were raised or something you chose on your own?
Something I kind of chose on my own, but you know, my grandma, she passed away probably about 5 years ago. She passed away about in 2021, and she was real religious with God, you know. So, you know, I listened to some of the things she would say like that, so, you know, that's where I kind of grasped it from, but, you know, I'm definitely a man of God, though, for sure, you know.
And this grandmother you're referencing here, mother's side of the family or father's side for you?
Yeah, my mother's side of the family.
So no specific religion for you, just a belief in God.
Yeah, correct. Strong belief.
Now, who or what motivates you at this point? Zooming out.
Just music, period, you know? Like I said, we all get inspired by other people at the end of the day. Like all that big dog shit, cut it out, bro. For real, for real. We all get inspired by somebody, you know? But just music, period. Like, you know, I listen to other people, listen to other songs, listen to other people's beats, and I might get inspired, you know? If you hard, you hard. And I fuck with you, I fuck with you for sure, you know? But yeah, I get inspired by everybody, everything shit. Like I said, I like music, period. Everything, no matter if it's R&B, trap, you know, I fuck around, listen to some rock and roll if that shit high, but I don't. But if I heard some shit that was high, yeah, I fuck around, listen to it. But you know, just hard music. Period. That's how I get inspired. You know, I listen to everybody, bro.
Now, speaking of inspiration, have you been on the other end of that yourself? Has anyone ever said to you, you've inspired them?
Yeah, not too long ago they have. Yeah, they slid in my DMs and actually told me that.
Now, what's that feeling like on that end of the spectrum? Someone saying that about you and what you've done for them.
But you know, I look at it like how can I say this? You know, humble beast. That's all I'm gonna say. You know, if somebody tell me, you know, they fuck with my music, they fuck with me. You know, I salute them. You know, I tell them I appreciate it. You know, I'm really open to anybody. You know, if you want to talk to me, you can talk to me. You know, I help people too if they need help. Ask me how I get this to sound like this or how I do that. You know, I ain't no nigga that's gonna gatekeep and try to keep it all to myself type shit. You know, I help other niggas out. And that's fucking facts too. You don't play with me. Any nigga that ever say some weird shit or say nah, bitch, you know I helped you. Knock it off. I help the motherfucking homeless man, motherfucker. If I got to, shit, don't do that.
Now, circumstances could be different for everyone, but there may be someone in the audience who needs some motivational words or encouragement themselves right now. Can you give them any?
Shit, just keep going, shit. I know it get tough and get hard, you know, cause you gotta be. I ain't gonna lie, folks. You gotta really be mentally strong to be a producer on some 100 shit. If you ain't mentally strong, it ain't for you, bro. You gonna check out real fucking quick, you know. It's a lot of ups and downs and shit like that. Some people get lucky, you know, and they just go up out of nowhere. They can post a fucking beat on YouTube and the shit blow up, and now they just, you know, the shit. But you know, but other than that, you gotta stay down. You have to stay down, you know. If you don't stay down, then it ain't for you, bro. Because you're going to see a lot of shit, you know, and go through a lot of bullshit throughout the process. But you got to stay down, though, you know.
Were there times in your history of being a music producer where you thought about quitting yourself?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, kind of, yeah. 50-50, yeah.
Did you ever actually quit, or was just more so thoughts?
No, I never quit. No, it's just thoughts.
What kept you going from making that decision?
I mean, like I said, I love music first and foremost, but, you know, I just kept going. That's all shit, you know. Something I wanted to do. So if I want to do something, I'm going to do it, you know.
That quitting thoughts,
Yeah,
feel, whatever. How recent was that?
I can't even tell you, honestly, bro. But like I said, it's definitely crossed my mind before, but yeah.
Was it so far? Were you so far removed from that? That's why you don't remember? That was a long time ago when you had those thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, any other motivational encouragement for those in the audience other than what you just said? And if that's it, that's fine as well.
Motivational encouragement.
Yes.
Um,
Anything else you want to say to those in the
like I
audience?
said, I do help. I help anybody. So if you know what I'm saying, you feel like you want to give up and something like that, bro, just keep going hard. And like I said before, shit, just I would encourage all producers to learn how to make melodies and drums, you know? If you know how to make a melody and you know how to do drums, then you should be good though, you know? Don't box yourself in. If you box yourself in, it's gonna make it 10 times harder, you know? Knowing how to make loops is a cheat code.
What is the biggest misconception of you at this point?
Shit. As far as I know, nothing, shit.
What's a wrong or inaccurate idea people may have about you?
Shit. Nothing that I know of.
Craziest rumor you heard about yourself?
None.
Nothing as literally nothing exists, or nothing you care to share or talk about?
Nah, as far as I know, I ain't never heard no wild shit about me, nothing like that. You know?
And why is that so? Because there are some that sit in front of this camera and they have a lot of rumors about them.
I don't know shit. I ain't never heard no weird shit about me or nothing like that. A motherfucker said, oh, 808 Tay do this or he been doing that. Nah, I ain't never heard.
Now, hypothetically speaking, let's say a rumor does develop about you in the future.
Okay.
Do you have a policy for that? How you would handle such a rumor?
It depends on what it is. If it's that bad, I'm gonna address it. Shit, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna address it and leave it alone. Shit, I ain't gonna, you know, keep gaslighting shit. But you know, I'm gonna say what I gotta say and you know, keep it pushing. It depends on how bad it is too, or what the fuck it is that a motherfucker said, or whatever the case might be. But you know, some shit you gotta just say something about. Some shit you don't. You know.
Now, is there a question you receive you dislike getting asked? Something you can't stand to answer, perhaps. Maybe it's a repetitive question, something you receive all the time. Could be from followers, fans, supporters, or strangers asking you this.
Nah.
Have people ever questioned your height?
Yeah.
How tall you are?
Yeah.
Care to share that numeric figure?
5'4".
And with those digits there, are you the shortest male in your immediate family?
Probably, yeah.
Now, who's been the biggest person in the music industry you fell out with, but it has since been repaired?
Nobody that I really know of. Just had a wild fallout or nothing. Nah.
Just curious there.
Yeah, I ain't never had no fallouts with nobody.
All right. Well, I'll ask you one more thing here. And that's this, okay? This is coming up. Let's see how you feel with this set of questions here.
All right.
What is your opinion on Valentine's Day?
Shit. You got a lady and you shit, she do right by you, you know? Get her right, shit. She do right, you get her right, shit, you know? Cause you know, a lot of females care about Valentine's Day, you know? So shit, get her right. If she right with you, shit, get her right.
Any do's or don'ts on Valentine's Day? Now, keep in mind circumstances could be different for everyone, but any do's or don'ts on Valentine's Day?
Shit. If you know the bitch will care for the day, shit, make sure you get her something, shit. Whatever you gonna do, shit. Whatever it is that y'all do, shit, make sure you do it, shit, you know?
Any other do's or don'ts on this special day?
Nah. Not that I can say, nah. Besides what I just said, nah.
All right, wrapping up here. Now, before this interview ends, is there anything else you were not asked, followers, fans, or supporters want to know?
Nah.
Is there anything that was said in this conversation that needs further clarification from what was said? Is there anything perhaps you want to add on to what you said previously? Is there anything perhaps you would like to subtract or retract from what you said earlier in this conversation?
Just communicate with your producers, that's all, you know? And that's me, you know, trying to look out for the producer community, period. Like I said, I'm going to help shit, you know? I want everybody to be good with this shit, bro. So, yeah, artists, can y'all please communicate with your damn producers? Let us know what the fuck is going on.
Any last words?
Communicate.